Hey guys, StarCraft here. Once again, I'm in the other room, keeping an eye on my brothers. If you're hearing noises, well, that's them. I'll try and put music on to drown it out as best I can, but if you can hear them, can't be helped. But today, I want to talk a little bit about and James D. Hudnall. Actually, I don't have much to talk about. I did hear about how good he was of a writer, and how one of his first graphic novels was actually what I'll be talking about today. Lex Luthor, the Unauthorized Biography. And, oh, Jesus, I hate when that happens. And basically, this here gave us the post-crisis backstory for Lex Luthor. And personally, from what I understand, a bunch of the writers back then were not happy about that. How this other guy got the chance to do something that they didn't. But that's what I heard. I don't know one way for certain, but this is a damn good book. It is very good, and it's not the traditional comic. It's a graphic novel, prestige format. Nothing but the stuff it goes over for Lex is this would set the standard for a long time on Lex, and Lex is such a bastard. Oh, what you probably noticed about this cover? It's based off of Trump. I think it goes without saying. It's based off of Trump from The Art of the Deal, I believe. Just look at that. Yeah. Kind of ironic because this was made in '89, so. Yeah, what? Wait, 89? That's 30 years ago. Whew. Wow, I'm on the anniversary for this thing, but yeah, the artwork was done by Eddie Barreto, another guy who's no longer with us, and the coloring was done by Adam Kubert, a great artist, but hold on a second. Sorry about that, but like I said, the coloring was also done by Adam Kubert, who also did coloring, at least back in these days. So we open up with this Lex with this woman, just his usual squeeze of the week, you could say, as he's watching a video showing Clark Kent, as basically he's being accused of murder of a man named Peter Sands has been found dead, and apparently when they found him dead, and stabbed to death, Clark Kent's name was written in blood, and yeah. Basically, the two have been communicated before, but we rewind to earlier as we see Peter Sands waking up, just trying to figure out, and he's hearing stuff like from his attorney, his wife's. Hold on. Again, sorry about that. As, basically, it's from his ex-wife, basically asking where's the alimony payment. We're going to have to send the sheriff over unless to which he tried to claim, wrong number, you're not fooling any ka-choom. As he's then in the shower, he takes a shower, he's trying to figure out there's some way he can get in advance, some way, somehow. Starts calling up publications for work, works at the top, works his way down, and basically even saying hey, in advance? You have to be crazy to think I'd ever advance you money again, Peter. You show up drunk for interviews. Last time you puked over Don Johnson. We spent weeks dodging his people. And, basically there's a scandal going on. Other people all this other stuff. And yeah, basically it just keeps on going through more and more until eventually a woman calls him up and saying, our publisher is looking for more product, and he cited your book, The Marilyn Monroe Murder, as what he's interested in seeing. We'd like to know if you have any other books in the works, especially something like a nice juicy bio. To which, just at random, he finds a newspaper of Lex Luthor, and he just spouts off an unauthorized biography. That sounds great. Could do better than Trump's book. Is it dirty? Is it full of steamy sex and shady details? Oh, yeah, but I'm having a little problem with expenses. To which she just sends him, $3,000 right up for, in advance. And yeah, basically, he feels like, oh yeah, but this sounds awesome. As we keep cutting back and forth between Clark, as the people are asking questions. They keep on thinking we got evidence on you. And that's what was revealed, your name was written in blood. Why would he do that? We then cut to to Peter trying to go through the library, trying to get the basic information first on Lex, but there's not that much to get. Not enough for him to make something out of, especially when he reads Lex's own book. And again, there's just not much. It's just that you always feel, like there's something else going on. And yeah, so you start, and we again keep cutting back and forth with Clark. As they just keep on asking him, and he's like, I've never heard of him. He told me he was a fellow reporter. He said he might have had some info I might want. Told him to be more specific, but he said it was too dangerous to talk about on the phone. He asked me to come over to his apartment because he was too afraid to go outside. There was just something about the way he said it, and I believed him. As we then, we then cut to him. This is when he met up with Peter, and Peter kind of snaps at him for a brief moment. It basically sounds like, you know Superman, I need help, something to help, anything. And basically like, you gotta tell, and you just tell me your story and I'll help out. But he basically says, here's what Peter, again, this jumps around a bit, but in a way that makes a lot of sense. As Peter says, I've been putting together a biography on Lex Luthor. I've uncovered things that would put him away for life. Now I'm being followed night and day. People have tried to kill me. I can't trust the police. I can't trust you. But I'm willing to trust Superman if you can get him. Basically saying like, I need more information. Your notes. No way. Get me Superman and I'll show you whatever. And yeah, basically said he went to go contact Superman with the light when he saw him. And then basically the cops are like, what does Lex Luthor have to lie? As we start to see what Lex has to hide. As basically he goes, like, for example, to his old woman, finds out it was a reporter, but just eventually begs her to let him in. Finds out this was one of his old teachers. These kids would bully and harass Lex, beat the shit out of him, put him in crutches. Or at least that's what it seemed that way. But then they just harassed him, and then Lex hired, the rumors were Lex hired some grown men to beat the shit out of him. And they never bothered Lex again. And it wasn't long before Lex's parents died that he moved away. And basically he got an insurance settlement for his parents. And yeah, she talks a bit smack about him. Then he makes his way to where Lex used to live. It wasn't Smallville by this point, just some other place. And he starts asking questions, and we find out a bit about Lex's family life. It was bad, real bad, like drunken father and mother, things like that. And basically, they apparently that the brakes were broken and all that, but they wouldn't say anything. Even says, I had a mechanic check it out, tracked it down, didn't get much answered out of it. And basically quit his job 2 days after the settlement came through, a rich man. And yeah, basically a lot of fishy stuff going on here with Lex, especially at that young of age. Again, we keep on finding with Clark, they're asking questions like, where were you? I was home reading a book. In other words, no alibi. And yeah, no one to corroborate. And again, we just keep following Peter around as he keeps on asking other questions, not painting that good of a picture about Lex. Just keeps on asking more and more. And yeah, basically starts getting some other people drunk. Getting him some drinks, basically saying like, I won't use your name in the book. And, just things like that. How Lex just did all this stuff. And how he helped people fix the planes. Luthor was a genius, but he saw the growing drug problem and realized he could make money off of that as well. And sure enough, he started to do that, just all this stuff. But eventually, what happens is that the guy's talking, he gets hit by a car, killed. And then for a moment, these other guys start to pull guns on Peter. He runs, realizing he's gone in way too deep. And then eventually we just see some other people that he's talking with and that he meets up with. Like this one woman who got a job with Lex and really liked it all, but when he wanted more and more, well, eventually, yeah, they no longer, eventually at first it was love, but then Lex started getting more and more control. And to the point where she even says, we no longer made love. Instead, he hurt me. He became cruel. Then he left LexCorp not long afterwards. And basically she even admits that she got a manager job at Star Labs, competitor of his, a company he hasn't been able to hurt so far. She just wishes there was a way she could hurt him. But eventually Peter makes it home, finds his place ransacked, but turns out he hid his stuff inside the toilet. Which I'm like, okay, that's pretty clever. Then we see a bit more about Clark getting chewed out because I'm being sincere. Like, I didn't do anything. Last time I was there, he was alive. I swear. we find out later what happened. After he left, there was an earthquake, and thus Superman had to fly off. That's why he was in the area when he gets abducted, when poor Peter gets abducted by some of Lex's men and brought before him. And I just love it. Have a seat, Mr. Sands. And I must say I'm impressed by the amount of information you've been able to obtain on me. Considering your limited resources and the number of days you've been working on this, it's quite an accomplishment. What do you want? Nothing I haven't already taken. Your tapes have been erased. Your notes have been incinerated. It amazes me that people seem to think a toilet take is an original hiding place. It's even more amusing that you chose to write my biography without requesting an interview. Well, I was trying to get some background material first. Of course you were, Mr. Sands. However, I can now allow this book to be published. What are you going to do? You'll be paid a kill fee. This project of yours is finished. But since you've gone to so much trouble, I thought you might at least like to know the answer to some of your questions. Go ahead, ask me anything. Did you kill your parents? And I love this moment right here. You realize the moment he asked that, he signed his death warrant. Had you known them, you would have applauded my actions. They were obnoxiously mediocre. They were pathetic. From the moment I could walk, I hated them. Their downfall was ever on my mind. Since we lived in a slum, I had access to all sorts of questionable types. My intellect and savvy impressed some of them. I gained their friendship. They even did me a few favors now and then. So I set up an insurance policy before my parents went away. The alterations to their car were simple enough, and the mechanic was more than happy to write that false report, especially after my friends discussed it with him. Those were the days of my reckless use. I no longer involve myself with messy details. My current status makes it essential that I delegate such matters to others. Indeed, the loose ends you've uncovered are rather embarrassing. But thanks to you, they've been identified and can now be eliminated. And those people I interviewed, you're not going to. All physical evidence, like the insurance records, have been destroyed, as well as the people. Well, your friend Harry Jones was the only one who could compromise by deniability. That isn't to say I was totally unforgiving. Take Richard, for example. Richard and his friend Ed Kelly used to pick on me in grade school. My neighborhood acquaintances put a stop to that with a little non-verbal persuasion. Years later, I discovered that Rich and Ed had grown up to become felons. I offered them a new life, working for me. Richard wisely accepted, but Ed, foolish Edward Kelly, still bore a grudge after all those years. He spat in my face. Oh, well, you look at the time. I'm afraid I must leave you now. I have to be on my chalet in Aspen tonight. Just one last question. Why? Why do these things? Why? Life is short. I've come to become my parents. Had I chosen to, I could have become just like my parents. Had I chosen to wallow in cheap emotion and self-loathing, as did they. Instead, I chose to become a god. I control human lives instead of being controlled. I can destroy someone with a phone call, which is why I cannot abide Superman. There is only room for one god on this planet. I am determined to bring him down at any cost, and I will, using his friends to... My enemies will continue to fall before my vast corporate empire. For example, there was this company in Tokyo that was beginning to give me some serious competition. They had no idea what they were up against, or the technology I possessed to effect their demise. They know now. A god must be severe. This was an interesting chat, Mr. Sands, but I'm afraid your time is over. And goodbye. As Sands is knocked out, he is then been brought back home and stabbed to death. The hand forced to make the drawings in his blood. And basically, even Clark tries to say Superman knows I'm innocent. When all of a sudden, Clark gets a attorney coming, not his own, but it's quite clear there's one that Lex has basically called him over, and basically reveals that things are not. He can cover for him, saying, "Oh no, I got you covered, but let's make sure this doesn't happen again, shall we?" In other words, Clark owes Lex. Otherwise, he'd be going up the river. As we then see Lex and the woman after finishing watching it. Did you enjoy the tape, Mr. Luthor? Let me show you. After all, actions speak louder than words. This was amazing. The way they handled Lex especially. I love Alexa, that's monstrous. His little Lex, he's not the mad scientist, but he's even worse. And James Hudnall really got to it. Especially taking the idea that Lex was responsible for his parents' death. That has been something that's been utilized ever since. I don't think this was established any time beforehand. And yeah, this has become a staple that Lex caused his parents' deaths, and, well, what else can I say? It's damn good, and it's such a shame that Hudnall's no longer around. But for the one book I have of his, it's well worth it. And if you can ever find a copy, get it. Little funny note that the Baldy Awards that they would give out, that was almost their version of a no prize, would just be a photo card with this image on it. Yeah. So, yep, that's about all I can say. Tomorrow I'll be talking about The Black Pearl by Mark Hamill. And after that, well, I'm thinking of talking a little bit more about Shazam, the Jeff Smith version. So, until then, this is StarCraft. Catch y'all later.